Hello everybody, welcome to Lines of Battle. In this video, I'm going to go over the basics. How to start a match, how to give your units orders, how to win a match, some helpful gameplay tips, and to end the video, I'm going to give a quick guide to map making. I really hope you guys enjoy, and please feel free to ask me anything in the comments section. I will try to get back to you guys. Alright, let's get right to it. The first thing you want to do is click the three bars in the top left corner and check out Army Composition. Here you could choose what units you want to take into a ranked battle based on what size match you pick. Clash being the smallest size and Grand Battle being the largest. Another important tab to know is the store. Here you can buy new units using IQ, as well as new unit skins and avatars using Prestige. You should start with enough EQ to buy a new unit, so you might as well. To learn how to give orders, let's start a match against the AI. You're going to want to click the play button in the main menu, and then scroll down to play offline. Once you've done this, you can set up what army both sides will take into the battle. When you're ready, click Create New Offline Game to start the match. We have now entered the deployment phase. You can't give orders just yet, but you can set where your troops will be when the battle starts in the deployment box. Press left click to select a unit and right click to move it. You can also make a selection box by holding down left click and moving your cursor. To deselect a unit, you can either press Q or just click somewhere else on the map. Once you're ready, press the spacebar to submit your orders, and the match will begin. Now you can finally give actual orders to your troops. We have 5 to choose from. There's Move, Seek, Shoot, Fire in Advance, and Fall Back. These orders can also be selected using the hotkeys of 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. The regular move order is by far the most important. You want to use this one by right-clicking and dragging an arrow for your troop to follow. During the next turn, they will move along the path that you've drawn and finish facing in the direction of the arrow. Just know that whenever your unit makes a sharp turn, it loses speed, so try to limit those unless you need them. As of right now, melee charges are best managed with the move order, since you know when your unit will stop at the end of the next turn, and you can give charge orders that aren't in a straight line. This is subject to change in the future because this game is updated a lot. Next up, we have Seek. To give this order, select your own unit and right-click on an enemy troop to have yours lock onto them and run towards it. When they get there, it'll initiate melee combat. Third, we have Shoot. With this order, your unit will stand still and fire on the point that you have right-clicked on. Alternatively, you can select an enemy troop to have your unit track them. The star will designate what is being hit, and this includes friendly units, so be careful of that. Use this order with artillery to maximize damage, because anything in that yellow area is getting bombarded. Coming up next, we have Fire and Advance. This order will have your troop walk along an arrow that you've drawn, and fire at enemy units when in range. When the enemy unit is at medium range, your troop will stop advancing. This is a good order for keeping pressure on enemy troops without engaging in melee combat. Finally, we have the fallback order. With this order, your unit will walk backwards along the path that you've drawn with right click, and shoot at whatever's in front of it. Use this order to turn your troops and readjust your lines if you push too far. It's worth noting that units do less damage and receive more damage while falling back, so don't do this when you're in active combat. Also remember that artillery can't fall back, and cavalry can't shoot. Now once you've gotten the hang of giving orders, you should start playing against other people. You can start a ranked match by going back to the main menu, clicking on play, selecting what kind of match you want, and then pressing play again. In a short amount of time, a match against someone else will begin. Now, most matches end when someone withdraws, but a win can also come from one side having no more organized troops left on the field. You can make this happen by beating all of the troops in open combat, or capturing their point, represented by their star. You can capture a point by placing your infantry on it for a few turns. The more troops you have on the point, the faster it'll capture. If you are able to capture the opponent's star, your victory points will start ticking up, and eventually the opponent's reorganization rate will fall past negative 100%, and their health will begin to drain. Dealing out casualties to your opponent while keeping your own troops alive will also yield victory points. You can view the current state of victory points and casualties by clicking the power bar at the top of the screen. Okay, in this next section, I'm going to try to get across to you as many tips as I can in a short amount of time. These are things that I wish that I knew when I started playing. I'm going to start with some more basic tips and then move on to some more advanced stuff later on. Alright, let's get to it. Units have organization, represented by a blue bar, and health, which is represented by the green bar. Organization regenerates over time, while health does not. The lower a unit's organization is, the slower it will move and the less damage it'll deal. It'll also deal less damage if it has low health. It's important to note that units provide an organization bonus to other friendly troops in the blue circle that you see when clicking on them. Guards and heavy cavalry have a much bigger radius compared to normal troops. It can inspire them to fight on longer than they otherwise would. Units in woods and buildings are much better defended compared to units out in the open. And along with that, units in water will deal a lot less damage, so keep them out. Another thing is that cavalry is heavily nerfed when it's fighting in forests or buildings, so if you're using them, you want to keep them out in the open. You can see the exact amount of a unit's organization, health, and what type of terrain they're in by clicking the eye on the left side of the screen while in battle. Units take a lot more damage when attacked in the flanks or the rear, so keep that in mind while fighting. As Hawk would say, the way to win lines of battle is to flank and not get flanked. Attack where the opponent is weak, and try to avoid them where they're strong. You should experiment with what kind of units you bring and find out what playstyle suits you the best. Aggressive players tend to bring more cavalry, and defensive players tend to bring more artillery. The best part is, it's really up to you. I will say, in general, you want to be using most of the resources that you're given, otherwise you will be at a disadvantage for the next battle. Infantry and artillery do more range damage the closer the enemy units are to them. Artillery can fire canister shot at close range, which is very effective. Artillery is also most effectively used using enfilade fire. This means that instead of firing head-on into an enemy formation and hitting one or two units, you're firing down the entire length of the enemy force and hitting all of them. This means that you hit a lot of units, and if you're lucky, you hit a bunch in the flank, and it does more damage anyway. Opening your army up to enfilade fire from the enemy is probably one of the biggest blunders that you can make in lines of battle. Space your own cannons out so enemy artillery can't hit multiple pieces at once. Artillery does a lot more damage against infantry and cavalry compared to other cannons, so you don't always want to counter battery. Please don't maneuver in front of your own artillery. Friendly fire is on, and canister shot to the back is not fun. Artillery does less damage to a unit the less organization that it has, so artillery is also most cost-effective firing at healthy units. Alright, now let's talk about cavalry. Don't send cavalry head-on into a healthy infantry unit, as they will most likely lose. You want to use cavalry for support of infantry, quick charges of enemy artillery, and unexpected flanking maneuvers. Cavalry in particular takes a lot of damage from ranged weapons, so try to exploit that. If your opponent is leaving their cannons undefended, it's usually a good idea to go after them, as you probably won't get a second chance. You may have noticed that I haven't said too much about what units to use or what to put in your army. This is because the meta constantly changes, and what works well right now might be a terrible idea 3 months from now. So to get accurate data on what works, ask around in the Discord, or just look at what people are talking about. Additionally, all the best players are there, so you can often get a lot of wisdom from them. Also, shout out to the homie Ice Defend, who makes some great videos on the units, the loadouts. Check him out. He's a great channel. Really, all I can say is that the best way to get good at this game is to play it. Most of the tips that I've given will just come second nature to you after you've played this game a good bit. And, if you really want to get higher elo, just put the work in and it'll come. Alright, now before I end this video, I just want to give a very quick guide on how to make a map, because a lot of people have been asking that in my comments. So here we go. Start off by clicking the Scenario Editor tab in the menu, then click Create Scenario. You can set the size of the map and choose whether you want a hybrid scenario or not. A hybrid scenario will act like a normal custom game, where players can bring their army composition, but if you want to place troops on the map in the creator, be sure to leave this off. You are greeted with a blank field. If you're modeling this after an actual battle, download an image of the battle map for the one that you want to make and import it with Choose File. The image will be overlaid, and you can make some pretty cool stuff with this. Alright, this panel on the left will define what changes you want to make, and you can pick what you want to work on by selecting what is active. With terrain, you can set what the actual map looks like, meaning the elevation, as well as the placements of forests, buildings, rivers, roads, and water. The radius button will change the size of edit that you make. You can change both elevation and terrain at the same time, but I would usually recommend that you only mess with one, because it's a little easier to manage. To place troops, make sure that Create Unit is selected. After picking what type of unit and what team you want to put it on, place these units with right-click. You can rotate a unit after placing it by selecting it and entering the desired degrees of rotation. Hold down Shift and click to select multiple units at a time. Finally, you can set where you want objectives to be before your map is finished. When you're done making edits to your map, click Download Scenario. A .json file will be downloaded with the data from the map. You can play this by going to Custom Battle and importing the file that you want to play. Also, if you do make a cool map, please upload it to the Discord server. There's a lot of really cool maps from other people, and we'd love to see yours. So I want to truly thank everyone for watching. Lines of Battle is a great game. Like I've never seen a game like this before, and I'm so excited for its future. I'd like to thank the creator Leo and his channel Sophie Games. Leo has been working very, very hard in this game, and all of the players, we appreciate the great work that he's been doing, and how far the game has come in such a short time. I also want to thank Hawk as the game designer. He's been making some good changes and getting rid of a lot of the cheesy stuff in the game. So thank you, Hawk. There's more content on the way. Thank you everyone for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.